Now, these films are boring. Admittedly, I will say, I'd rather the Wachowskis make something completely different and bonkers rather than just rehashing the same plot for the first Matrix film, so there is that one positive I will give the Matrix sequels, despite how boring I think they are. Right off the bat, Neo is a god, and that makes him boring because all he does is just fight things in a really cool way, and that's it. Other than that, he is boring as shit. He doesn't go through any emotional struggle, and his biggest fear of Trinity dying is so easily solved because he just restarts her heart with his Deus Ex Machina powers. Like, what the hell? Where's the tension in that? The film presents the idea of Neo as a messiah and that half the rebels see him as a god, but the film doesn't really go into how Neo feels about that. There's a look of hesitation on his face, sure, but we don't actually see him personally struggle with the fact that he's viewed as a godlike figure. Instead, we get a 5-minute sex scene / rave sequence, and it's like, what the hell? What is the purpose of this? Why does it go on for so long? That's what she said. What makes the Messiah angle to Neo even more confusing is that he's a godlike figure in the Matrix, but when he's in the real world, he's just a normal man. But then you get to the end of the Matrix Reloaded and Neo can just out of nowhere use his godlike powers in the real world without any explanation, and it's like, what the hell? Where did that come from? The action is cool, I guess, but I mean, it's really hard to care for Neo in these fights since he's pretty much invincible. Like, he's Superman level in terms of power. Like, how can I care for him if he doesn't get hit or hurt or damaged? It just becomes repetitive and boring. I will say, I actually really like the Smith versus Neo fight. I mean, sure, the CGI can get a little wonky, but the fight itself is actually really creative, and in a lot of ways, it's much better than the action we get in most blockbusters today. That being said, it does end really anticlimactically, and it makes you wonder why we had to sit through the whole thing if Neo could have just flown away the whole time. Now, I do want to address the scene between Neo and the Architect where they sort of explain the origins of the Matrix, because I'm sorry, by the time we get to that scene, I've had to sit through the whole film, and the film itself is really boring. So when we get to this big, long-winded, talky scene where the Architect and Neo just talk back and forth with a lot of dialogue and metaphors and soliloquies, like, I'm sorry, I don't care. Like, I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention, and I'm sorry if that makes me a bad audience member, but it's not my fault that the film bored me to tears by the time we had to get to the big important revelations. Like, from a visual standpoint, it's cool. I like the scene of Neo and the Architect and the TV screen surrounding them. It's really cool. It's just that the actual dialogue is just, it's too much information to take in at once to where you just have to either watch the film multiple times, which I really don't want to do, or you kind of just have to go, okay, sure, whatever, just end the scene. It may have answered the questions I had with the original Matrix, but also, it's just so wordy and long to where I'm like, okay, sure, whatever. Like I said in my review for the first Matrix films, the sequels just overcomplicate the concept of the Matrix to the point where you just don't care anymore. And I'm not gonna lie, the ending to the film falls very flat and it's very sudden. Like, oh no, this random dude that we saw twice throughout the entire film has been taken over by Agent Smith, I think. Is that revealed in this film or is that revealed in the Matrix Revolutions? Like, I don't remember. This film is equally as boring as The Matrix Reloaded, but it's in reverse, where I think the best bits of The Matrix Reloaded are at the beginning, but the best bits of The Matrix Revolutions are at the end. To sum up The Matrix Revolutions, it's pretty much all action and no substance. It's just the big battle between Zion and the machines, but the problem with that battle is that it's filled with characters we have no emotional connection to. And the characters that we do care for, like Neo and Trinity, are just flying around on a ship away from the action. Like, they disappear for a good half an hour before we ever see them again. And similar to Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End, getting Neo out of limbo was really easy, and it kind of makes you wonder what was the point of putting Neo in limbo other than to introduce us to Sati and her father. Now, both the sequels to The Matrix take a lot of ideas from Dune Messiah, but the problem with them taking those ideas from Dune Messiah is that they take them and do nothing with them, so therefore they make the film really boring. Ideas like Neo being perceived as a messiah, having visions of Trinity dying, him getting blinded but still being able to see, that all comes from Dune Messiah. But the problem with these ideas being used in the Matrix sequels is that they don't really mean anything. Dune Messiah is a story about how all-powerful dictators and prescience is not a good thing and how someone with all that power cannot be all good. In The Matrix, Neo has these powers, he ends the war with the machines, sacrifices himself, and is the hero of the story, and it's all just for it to be an allegory for Jesus. Now, I will say, the main redeeming feature of The Matrix Revolutions is Agent Smith. He is hilarious in this movie. Like, Hugo Weaving is having a blast and just, I love him so much in this film.
Cookies need love like everything does.
Now, I don't just like him in this film just because he's a bunch of memes. But also, I really like the idea of Agent Smith becoming a virus of the Matrix, because it's a nice callback to the conversation he has with Morpheus about viruses in the first film. Like, I think that's a really nice through line. And the final fight between Neo and Agent Smith is just fucking cool. The rain, the cinematography, the silhouette shots, the action, the music, like, oh my god, when Neo is walking towards Smith in the rain, holy shit, it's fucking awesome. And yeah, the final action scene is just fucking gorgeous, and watching it, I was like, oh, Zack Snyder definitely watched The Matrix Revolutions before he made Man of Steel, because there's definitely a lot of similarities between those fights. But yeah, this fight is really cool. And to sum up my thoughts on the Matrix sequels, yeah, they're really boring. I think I prefer Revolutions 2 Reloaded just because I think the final fight is really fucking cool. I mean, like I said in this review, most of the ideas they took for the sequels came from Dune Messiah, but just weren't explored enough, so they made them boring. But yeah, that's pretty much how I feel about the Matrix sequels. What do you guys think about them? Do you like them? I mean, I know there are some people that do actually like the Matrix sequels, so I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments down below. Like and subscribe and all the good stuff, hit the notification bell down there, my social media links, give them a follow, they're down in the description, and yeah, until we meet again, I'll see you guys next time.